there in television land. He's Dean Martin.
Yeah.
Beautiful people, lavish parties, and long work schedules. It's no wonder that many of Hollywood's leading women and men fell victim to addictive behaviors. And today we're talking about the biggest stars who were notoriously drunk in and around Hollywood, sometimes tripping over the sign. I'm your host, Nostalgic Nick, and if you enjoy this episode, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more. Now let's go find out how Michael Landon, or should I say Pa, dealt with his alcohol-fueled troubles. Elizabeth Taylor. Liz Taylor was known for her beauty and talent on the silver screen, but she struggled with alcoholism for decades, as well as getting addicted to painkillers. Taylor was the first celebrity to admit herself to the Betty Ford Clinic in 1983. Betty Ford, the wife of President Gerald Ford, had struggled with the same addictions before getting the help she needed in 1978. And later opened the Rehabilitation Center to help others. Elizabeth more than likely had no idea the profound effect her willingness to face her addiction had on others suffering in silence. Liz Taylor brought treatment out of the shadows of negativity towards hope and recovery for millions of Americans. And free from the bounds of addiction, Taylor finally had the breath to realize an even more important calling than acting: being a champion for AIDS awareness, prevention, and cures. Richard Burton. Naturally, moving from Taylor to ex-husband Burton makes sense. And just imagine drinking 2 to 3 bottles of vodka a day. That's what Richard Burton did at the height of his alcoholism in the 70s. He had a reputation in Hollywood for hardcore drinking and didn't care who knew about it. He once told a director, quote, "I am not drinking on your film." Only problem was that meant 1 bottle of vodka a day. Burton stated that he's sober even while on 2 bottles. And when he's drinking, it is 3 or more. One of his most iconic roles was 1966's Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, playing the hard-drinking college professor. And wouldn't you know it, he was phenomenal and was nominated for an Oscar.
By God, you gotta have a swine to show you where the truffles are.
Burton continued boozing, and while filming The Klansman in '74, he had to film many of his scenes sitting or lying down because he couldn't keep his balance. After filming the movie, he checked himself into lockdown rehab to dry out. He had been in the midst of a nasty divorce with Elizabeth Taylor and was finally ready to sober up. Sadly, the damage was done, and Richard suffered from cirrhosis of the liver and kidney disease. He died in 1984 at just 58 years old. Leonard Nimoy. Leonard Nimoy, or should I say Mr. Spock, battled alcohol while filming the iconic Star Trek. Nimoy stated that he began drinking to cope with the long days on the Star Trek set. William Shatner stated that Nimoy drank to numb the sheer disappointment of stardom. And 1 drink turned into 2, and before Leonard knew it, his addictive personality kicked in, and he just couldn't stop. He entered rehab once filming for the show had ended, and Nimoy lived until his other habit of smoking took his life at the age of 83. Cary Grant. Cary had a problem with alcohol and decided to get help in the 50s. And to cure Grant's alcoholism, his doctor prescribed a new drug at the time, LSD. Grant loved the trips he took on the drug and introduced some friends to it. Judy Balaban, the daughter of Paramount president, stated, quote, "I figured if it was good enough for Cary Grant, it was good enough for me." Grant is believed to have taken LSD about 100 times while being treated, but it changed his outlook on life, and he lived happily until his passing away at the age of 82. Joan Crawford.
No wire hangers ever!
When Joan Crawford was married to the CEO of PepsiCo, she was given a position as the official ambassador for Pepsi. Her husband saw this as a smart business move, as Joan was a very famous actress. She toured the world as Pepsi's ambassador, and at each stop of the tour, she requested to be provided with 2/5 of Smirnoff, 1/5 of Old Forester bourbon, 1/5 of Scotch, 1/5 of Beefeater gin, 2 bottles of champagne, and of course, a case of Pepsi. Obviously, that is overkill, but I'm just glad it was Pepsi and we didn't have to add Coke to the party. Peter OToole. It's hard to imagine that someone with bright, shining blue eyes like Peter OToole would have been one of Hollywood's leading alcoholics. He once told David Letterman that drinking was something that his generation just did, regardless of whether they had things to do that day or not. OToole claimed that alcohol enhanced his performances on the big screen. Do you remember the scene where Lawrence of Arabia completed a camel raid? Well, apparently OToole and his co-star Omar Sharif were both afraid of camels, so they decided to be completely drunk for the entire scene. They don't call it liquid courage for nothing. OToole laughs when people ask him about the scene because he doesn't remember filming it. Frank Sinatra.
Regrets, I've had a few.
Frank is what many people consider a functioning alcoholic. He claimed that Jack Daniels was his favorite. His signature drink was 4 ice cubes, 2 fingers of Jack, and a splash of water in a traditional rocks glass. It's rumored that he drank an entire bottle of Jack Daniels by himself daily. His doctor was shocked. Sinatra lived in the spotlight wherever he went. I guess you could say that he lived by the mantra, the best is yet to come. But this was not always the case. Sinatra could turn mean when he was drunk. Sometimes he picked fights with journalists or fellow actors. You had to be careful. One of his wives said that she locked herself in their room when she saw him drinking gin, because as she puts it, that's when he became mean. Frank, his buddies, and a few other Hollywood elites were dubbed the American Olympic Drinking Team. Sinatra passed away in 1998 at the age of 82, and he was buried with a bottle of Jack Daniels in his casket. Dean Martin.
You're gonna start already, huh?
No, I'm not starting.
How are you?
I'm almost through.
The king of cool once stated, quote, "I feel sorry for people who don't drink. When they wake up in the morning, that's as good as they're going to feel all day." Much of Martin's performing persona was based on being a lovable drunk, although his daughter and close friends have claimed that it was all an act, and old Dino just had apple juice in his glass. But the drink and cigarette in hand made him more revered. Men wanted to be him, and women wanted to be with him. But Dean was a kind father, always home for dinner and only having 1 cocktail with his wife during the evening. So although Dean Martin's career is very alcohol related, he seems to have danced with the devil but knew the right time to call it quits. Martin passed away in 1995 at the age of 78. Robert Shaw.
I had a little drink about an hour ago. It's got right to my head.
Big sharks, choppy water, and testy co-workers made the filming of 1975's Jaws an absolute nightmare for many of the people involved. Robert Shaw sipped on scotch during long filming days, and this caused tension between him and co-star Richard Dreyfuss. Shaw was drunk in most of the film with the exception of one scene, the scene where his character actually got drunk. Richard Dreyfuss later stated that he liked Shaw when he was sober, but couldn't stand the man when he was drunk. Once, Dreyfuss took a glass of booze out of Shaw's hand and dumped it overboard into the ocean. Michael Landon, known for his roles on Bonanza and Little House on the Prairie. Michael Landon was the pinnacle of the clean, well-respected man on television. Heck, he did it for decades. But he had an addiction to alcohol and Valium that constantly clouded the perfect picture. His co-stars knew that he drank some, but they had no idea just how much he was drinking on the set. Landon would spike his coffee with whiskey and other soft drinks with vodka, and after filming was completed for the day, they would all head out to the bar and continue drinking more. Landon's Little House daughter, Melissa Gilbert, stated that as a kid, she didn't know he sipped vodka from his coffee mug, but, quote, "I'm sure he's one reason why I almost always picked men who smelled like alcohol. And along with drinking and painkillers, he smoked 4 packs of unfiltered cigarettes a day, all likely influencing the onset of pancreatic cancer that eventually killed him." Michael Landon was just 54 years old. It's very sad, and no pun intended, it's sobering to learn the vast negative effects that alcohol has on so many of us. Fame possibly makes the liquid courage seem even more normalized. So from all of us here at Do You Remember, if you are feeling out of control with your own needs for alcohol, please get help, talk to someone, and continue to take one day at a time. Today's list is just a short sampling of all the stars who were known to have an alcohol problem. Some of them got the help they needed, while others sadly did not. Please add any more notable celebrities that have famously struggled with addiction. Certainly you all know some more that I could have mentioned today. For instance, I heard Craig T. Nelson speak about his performance in Poltergeist, saying he doesn't firmly recall the entire thing. And if he sees a clip of himself during that film, he can tell he's not there. The alcohol has taken him away. So get in the comments and you let us know. From all of us here at Do You Remember, thanks very much for watching, and please drink responsibly.